Notice the journeys. Notice the struggles. Notice the success. Notice that we are much more than just athletes. You've heard the stories, but not quite like this. New episodes weekly on Thursday. It's time for the world to take notice. Take Notice, episode 6, a brand new episode. I'm your host, Dwayne Notice. And this episode, I have someone very special to me, someone that I admire, someone that serves as an inspiration to me often on the court, someone that's very positive, and someone that I know that, anyone that's been around her could say the same thing. She's a 3-time SEC Player of the Year. She's National Player of the Year, NCAA champion in 2017. She won the Most Standing Player of the Year there. First overall pick in the 2018 draft. WNBA Rookie of the Year, and most recently, 2-time WNBA All-Star and now WNBA MVP, A'ja Wilson. It's very amazing to have you on my show.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So right now I'm gonna get into the warm-up. Like I said, you have so many accolades and accomplishments, and the crazy thing is you have so much more that you're probably gonna most likely and definitely gonna accomplish and achieve. So that's really dope. And all the accolades that you have, I can't even list all of them right now, but South Carolina's own right now, it's the warm-up. We're just gonna talk about how it was growing up in South Carolina and what your background is and what was it that influenced you to start playing basketball.
Yeah, I'm South Carolina born and raised through and through. I went to private school for 12 years, first grade through 12th grade. I went to Heathwood. That's a little bit up the road, literally maybe 5 minutes away from the University of South Carolina, where I attended college. And, it was good. I love growing up in the South. I love it. Everybody knows everybody. And I'm family oriented. So that played a key part in just who I am. Like, I'm built into it. Like, I love my family, my church family, my village that helped raise me. So it was really fun for me to kind of go to college and like have people literally watch me from preschool all the way up to college, and just having those people come out and around me constantly, and having that support was just a lot of fun. I love just to embrace it. South Carolina's treated me very, very well. I can only do but so much to pay them back. But at the end of the day, it was cool growing up in the South. I have tons of friends, of course. Everybody knows everybody. So it's small world, small town, but I had my fun.
Yeah. No, I was definitely about to say, being someone as well who's definitely family oriented, and I love my family because they provide so much inspiration for me, motivation and support. Seeing you and getting the pleasure of getting to know you and your family, just seeing how you interact with them, it's just always a great vibe with your brother, and then with your parents, it's like they're just comedy. What kind of dynamic, the kind of dynamic that you guys have, do you think that plays a large role in how you are today in terms of how you just operate when you go through life and your relationships with your friends and your other family and different people that you play against?
Oh yeah, for sure. Before I was who I am today, of course, my family played a huge role in that, and I credit them for everything that I have today because they made me have a balance. Like, my dad was more of the person that influenced me in basketball, like really hard on me. He was my trainer, he's my coach, and those times where I didn't want to have that motivation or didn't want that grind, he would pull it out of me, and he kept me, accountable. He held me accountable for everything. But then on the other side, my mom really allowed me to be a teenage girl growing up. She allowed me to have those outlets, to go to prom, to go out with my friends, sleepovers and things like that. So I was lucky enough to have parents that understood how much you need a healthy balance in just raising a child. So, and of course, my brother, he's going to always be my older brother, giving me a hard time. But I think just that as a whole just really helped me, because there have been times where I'm like, oh, I wish I was normal. I wish I could just walk out in Columbia and just no one would just kind of say anything to me. But then at the same time, my mom would always say, be grateful for that. Be
Yeah.
grateful that people look up to you in a way that they're like so happy to see you. So use that in a positive way. So my mom and dad really kind of helped me. My dad was more athletics. My mom was more academic. So it helped really mold me into the woman and the person that I am today.
Okay. So you mentioned that your dad was kind of like your trainer, your coach, and all the things above. Was it him that introduced you to basketball, or what was the defining moment that made you say, you know what, I want to play basketball at the highest level possible?
Oh yeah. So I was a late bloomer. I didn't wake up with the ball in my hand. I didn't do when I was in diapers. I had my goal. No, I maybe started being interested in basketball maybe when I was 13 years old. That was when I was like, okay, because I really didn't want to sweat. I hated sweating. Oh my god, I was like, ew. Like, I was just like, that's so disgusting, mom. Like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But actually, my dad tricked me into going to where I thought I was just like working out with an AAU team, my AAU team. And there I was just like, okay, like whatever. I didn't take it seriously. I never played. I sucked. Dwayne, I sucked. Like I was on the end of the bench. Like I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna be a good teammate because I'm here. I'm not gonna get sweaty. Like I'm good. My parents would fold my uniform up and be like, all right, next game. Like they wouldn't even wash it. So I mean, he was just someone that my dad played overseas for like 10 plus years. So he knew that he wanted that for me. Like he just felt like I would be a great athlete. So he bought me my first basketball goal maybe when I was like 14-ish.
Wow.
And then that's when I just started just like watching it. I started watching a lot. I watched a lot of Blake Griffin. I watched a lot of I didn't watch a lot of W because it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that yet. So I watched just a lot of college basketball and I just started to fall in love with just the game. And I would go out there late night, just shooting and my parents trying to sleep. And I got my dad's car light on and I'm just trying to shoot hoops. And I just started to fall in love with it. And my dad just really saw that. And then he was just like, all right, let's get it. So then that's when I played AAU for about 2.5 years and I made the junior Olympic team and I'm here and then, the rest is history. But yeah, it was definitely him that kind of he didn't force me, but he let me figure it out. He let me fall in love with it.
Well, I'm glad he did because obviously it's paying off right now.
Yeah.
But, being from South Carolina, was it pressure? Because you went to high school, like you said, and if I'm not mistaken, because that's where they had the primes where like we played at.
Yep.
So you have like the big poster of Asia Wilson there. They retired your jersey, right? So just having all that pressure, literally being, a GOAT in your own right in South Carolina and in women's basketball in general. Was there any pressure for you to play for your hometown and university, or what ultimately led you to that decision?
Yeah, well, actually, while I was making the decision, 16 years old, you're making a decision, and I was actually trying to go to a school where there was boys and like I could like just be like out there and have fun. And I was like, I don't want to stay here. Like I don't want to stay home because I want to leave. I want to be away from my parents and stuff like that. So I was kind of iffy about South Carolina, but then I thought about, Coach Staley. Coach Staley is someone who has done everything that I even imagined and dreamt of doing. And so I was like, what can be a better person to teach me the ropes than a woman that has been through it? And she was an African-American woman killing the game and they were up and coming. So, and then they were in my backyard. It allowed my grandmother to come and see me play for the first time, the only time my freshman year. And thank God our exhibition game was at noon. So she was able to come and I didn't really know that how much that meant to me until my grandmother passed. And I was like, wow, like she had an opportunity to come and watch me play. And if I would have went to school anywhere else, she probably would have never made it because at that point she was like 92-ish. So that was really like the kick of me. And I didn't really feel pressure because again, I was like, I'm home. I know the supporting cast is behind me. I got great teammates, great coaching staff. So I didn't really feel the pressure. I guess my mindset wasn't really there because I knew I was writing my own story. I don't really go in there with a lot of I have goals, but I don't have standards that I have to match for someone. So I just kind of went in there like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to try to do it. And I'm just going to have fun with it. So I didn't have any pressure being in South Carolina, honestly. I just kind of went with the flow.
Oh, wow. Well, that's awesome. And you mentioned Dawn Staley, who I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to meet as well. I remember just being a kid watching her on Martin or seeing her, win a whole bunch of titles, whether it was in college or whether it was in WNBA. But you talk about Dawn Staley and the impact that she's had on you. What is some of the best memories that you have with her, or the best advice she's given you? And what is your relationship with her? I know you guys are super close. I saw an interview with you in the Wubble the other day.
Yeah, so Coach Staley and I would say that we're kind of like Pop and Timmy. Like that is kind of like how I see us. She's someone that I'm going to always listen to no matter what. I'm always going to have her insight with any decision that I make. And I think the same, she knows how to get the best out of me. And I try my best to try to just fire her in the ass a little bit, get on her nerves a little bit. So I love that dynamic that we have. And she was someone that inspired me in so many ways because, she's a gold medalist. She's a phenomenal player, coach, and a great person, but she's honest. I think you don't find that a lot in this world, but let alone in the college basketball world. So that was something that really drew my attention. She didn't promise me anything. She just said, hey, this was my idea. I'm trying to win championships and this is how I want to do it. So I think that's kind of what drew me. And then our relationship just started to flourish. The more we've been around each other constantly, whether it's USA basketball or USC, we're always together. So we get on each other's nerves. She knows how to push my buttons and push me to my hardest and my best. So that's what I love. And something that always sticks out to me with Coach Staley is she always told me to be true to me. Like she said, you know, we recruited you for a reason. You belong here. And she always had that sense that I'm like, okay, I belong here. And I carry that all the way till now. Like I remember being drafted. I still would still talk to her now after games and stuff. So it's pretty cool to have that still connection with her. So yeah, she really just told me to be true. Don't switch up, never, ever switch up, and just do you. And I think that's something that I live by always, on and off the court.
Wow, that's amazing. Especially just knowing my relationship with Frank Martin. It's like I kind of feel the similar I guess vibes that you feel when it comes to Don Staley. Like when I got recruited to South Carolina, like he never promised me that I would, you know, play the whole game or start or win a championship or anything. He just promised my family that he'd help me be the best man I could become. And his advice to me would just be a consistent dude, be an everyday player, be everyday, you know what I'm saying? So it's always funny just on the outside watching in and seeing how, you know, people have their opinions on those two great coaches, but then all the players who went through the system have nothing but the utmost respect and nothing but the best to say. And like you said, Don Staley's still keeping in contact with you. Frank to this day still texts me and gives me advice, whether it's comes to basketball, whether it's life advice. So the relationship doesn't end once you graduate, which I think is awesome. I saw a picture on your Instagram of you and Kobe Bryant, you know, rest in peace to the Mamba. What was that experience like, seeing him watch your games or having a friendship or relationship with him? I know that he's a super supportive and frequent supporter of the WNBA. So before he passed, I know he was talking to a few WNBA players and just giving his advice and lending his leadership. I saw that you met him. What was that like?
Oh man, it was something that was just incredible. It was something that you never know until it happens and the time has passed and you can reflect on it. But that was huge. Meeting Kobe Bryant was something I was like, all right, check this off my bucket list, because it was just key. But then let alone, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, Kobe and I, we had a cool relationship and I would talk to him. No, we didn't really do that. I might have talked to Kobe maybe twice, and then those twice chances probably lasted like that much. But those little conversations is something that I was like, whoa, because he said my turnaround jumper was nice. And I was like, that's it. Like, y'all can't tell me nothing. Like, I don't care what else y'all gotta say. Kobe just said that. So like that little thing, like it goes a long way. And I'm like, I can only imagine if I really sat down, had an opportunity to sat down and talk to him. But those little moments just so key. And it was before, even when he's the late great now. It's crazy we're even saying that right now. But I think the biggest thing that touched me was just he brought his AAU team, the Mamba girls there, and they were in our locker room, and they just had this swagger and this sense like, we gonna be here in a couple of years. And it's like, y'all are 14, like that's so dope. And it was great to have that energy around, because if you would have asked 14-year-old Asia if she was going to be in the WNBA locker room a couple of years, she'll look at you like you're crazy. But to see them like just have that swagger and that demeanor of like, yeah, I'm gonna be in here playing against y'all or with y'all in a few years, like that's just that mentality that Kobe always talks about. And you can see that he instills that in those girls at such a young age. Like, he doesn't care. Normally they're like, oh, let the little girls grow up and let them, okay. No, like you can tell Kobe held them to a standard. Like, no, this is what y'all are going to be to be the best. And that was something that I always remember. And, you know, losing them was something that was tough across the basketball world, but especially in the W, because like you said, Kobe has been an advocate for us through and through. Like, he's always been there supporting us. And to think that the last time we honestly saw him, he had on an orange hoodie, like that's dope. That is just huge. So, you know, his legacy is going to always continue. We're going to always uplift them no matter what. And just know that, you know, we're going to continue it and never let up and just continue to grow our game as women's basketball for sure.
Wow. That's unreal. That's amazing that you got to meet him. Your freshman year, you were the SEC Freshman Player of the Year, which is, again, another great accomplishment. What were the biggest adjustments that you had playing from high school to university? Because I know for me, it was just like the game. The guys were bigger, stronger, faster. High school, we didn't have scouting reports. Like, there was nothing like that going on. We weren't watching film was watching highlights. It wasn't like, you know, studying your game and trying to see your weaknesses and see how you could improve on defense or offense or whatever the case may be. And like I said, in high school, you averaging 25 points, like 14 rebounds, and I think like 5 blocks per game, which is like unheard of and it's legendary. But so go from that and then to step onto campus and, you know, play at the university level? What was the biggest
Yeah.
adjustments?
I would just have to say, just not even like that. My adjustment wasn't even on court, not
Mhm.
as much as I thought it would be, like just time management
Yeah.
and just like being on my own. Because like even though I was right up the street from my house, I was still on my own. I didn't have my parents to do my laundry. I didn't have like that. So I think that was the biggest adjustment to me, is just being on my own, understanding that. And even then, as student athletes, you know, we got weights and
Right.
class and study hall. So your day's pretty stretched out, but managing time of when you can have to yourself, when you can go with your friends, and also when you can study for exams and stuff, that was tough.
Yeah.
And so like for me, that was an adjustment, because I'm like, all right, I ain't got my mom in my ear telling me, hey, you go do your homework. Like now it's like it's on me to make sure I'm on Blackboard, to make sure I'm there doing my
Yeah.
stuff. And so like that was just eye-opening to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. Like
Mhm.
I was like, I gotta get up out of here. This ain't for me. Like I'm good. And then on top of that, you know, I came off the bench.
Mm.
So like I was like, oh goodness, people gonna think that I'm like this fluke and I just can't play. So it's just like the mental aspect of just, you just really have to grow up. And it's something that I'm like, I wish I could tell people like, oh, this is the way to grow up. But no, like you just gotta go through it. And so
Exactly.
that was the toughest thing for me, was just like managing my time, whether that's like practice, about to like die after practice, but then having to go to study hall and sit in front of your mentor, and
Mhm.
like all of that stuff like adds up. And so that was my biggest adjustment. I'm like, ooh, I am not in high school anymore.
Exactly. That's why I try to tell a whole bunch of people. Like that's, I think, one of the most underrated things as professional athletes, or just athletes in general, especially when they go to school, is time management. And then you hit it
Hmm.
right on the nose. Like mentally, it's like you have to be mentally strong, because like you said, you're not
Always.
gonna have someone in your ear all the time telling you when you can and can't do something. And even though our
Hmm.
days are pretty much like you said, it's like weird. It's structured because you have like classes, practice,
Yep.
weights, study hall. But at the same time, it's like so much freedom that you've never had before,
Yeah.
coming from high school. So you have to be able to balance that dynamic. That's pretty dope that you're able to figure it out though. All the stuff that's going on in the world right now, from like the racism to the social injustices to the police brutalities. Growing up in South Carolina, like for me, I came from Toronto. So when I went to South Carolina, it was like an eye opener for me. Like
Mm.
I never even knew that the Confederate flag, like, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
be up in any place. So for me, just being a wide-eyed, young kid from Toronto and
Yeah.
seeing stuff like that, I definitely had to experience, I'm not gonna say racism, but I definitely saw more than I saw when coming from Toronto. So just growing up in South Carolina, were you ever encountered or experienced any type of racism or any type of stuff that's happening today, unfortunately, in our society?
Growing up in South Carolina, it's like the root of it, honestly. And I hate to say that, because that's my home.
Yeah.
But you know, it's something that I'm not going to shy away from at all. But yeah, I mean, going to private school where there's only like what, maybe 7% Black, and
Mhm.
then at the same time it's maybe 3% Black women. It was hard. Like those, they were my friends. Like it was what I'm always around. So white people were always my friends, and I got picked out a lot by my AAU team that's predominantly Black. I got called all different names because I enunciate my words and all of this. But then at the same time, you know, I kind of got hit with that when I kind of wrote this in my players tribute, Dear Black Girls, when I got invited to a birthday party. And then the girl kind of said, well, you know, you got to stay outside because my dad doesn't like Black people. And this was like fourth or fifth grade. And I'm like, oh, what? It just didn't hit me.
Mhm.
And it did. Like my parents then had to have that conversation with me. And I said before, Black men get the conversation. You know, you
Yeah.
get to watch your surroundings. You got a target on your back. You got to be careful with who you talk to. But for Black women, we don't get that. For young Black girls, we don't get that talk. And we're probably the biggest targets of them all. And it was tough for me to grow up in that way. But I think
Mhm.
at the same time, it kind of gave me a curve of growing up, because I then kind of had a one up, because I understood, okay, this is how the world views me. And I'm like, hey, they love me because I can put the basketball in the hoop. But if I take this jersey off and I'm just walking down the street, I'm a Black woman.
Yeah.
And they can see me as a threat. They can see me as anything. So it was tough. And I think I'm kind of, because I am an athlete, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm always ride for my community no matter what. I'm gonna always speak up and be that voice for the voiceless. And I think the W did a great job bubble when it came to just Breonna Taylor, and all women of color, brown, Black, however you want to say it. You know, it's the voice that always gets swept underneath the rug, and so we have to use our platforms to show that. So I was glad to be a part of something that that did that, especially coming from South Carolina, where you said, Confederate flag is there. And it's not going anywhere to them. So it's kind of like, you got to still use your voice.
Exactly. Wow, that's powerful. Halftime, so we're gonna play Notice My Steez, and it's basically your favorites, just to get to know you a little bit better behind the basketball player and amazing woman you are already. First one, what's your favorite pregame and postgame meal?
Ooh, pregame, I gotta have like a carb. It could be just some pasta. I'm really liking some pasta. I can
Okay.
always eat. I don't know how because it's just heavy on my stomach, but yeah. And then post game, I'm probably just drinking a protein shake.
Really?
I know that's not
Oh,
good.
wow. After games, I'll be hungry. I don't know what you talking about. I'll be hungry. Okay, favorite movie?
Bad Boys 2.
That was too. It's a good pick though.
Yeah, classic.
That's it. Okay, favorite hobby?
Ooh, it used to be going to the movies, but now because of COVID, I love shopping.
Shopping? That's a good hobby to have. That's it.
Right.
Okay, favorite basketball memory?
Ooh, favorite basketball memory? Oh, winning a national championship.
By far?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was special. We're gonna talk about that later, but
Right, that whole year.
favorite artist to listen to now and all time, and then lastly, favorite pregame music.
Ooh, favorite artist to listen to now, all time? I would have to say Drake. I think Drake is like bangers of bangers. And pregame music, I like R&B. So I really like the 2000s. I like the slow jams, the R&B. That's something that it kind of gets me in this like focused mood. And I'm like, all right, it's time to go hoop.
That's interesting. Well, shout out to Drake because he's from the six. But
Right.
the R&B thing is definitely dope. It's funny because there's for me, like I'm a big Lil Wayne, Jay-Z fan. I like old school music, so I'll listen to like that kind of music when I know it's an intense game. But when it's a game where like I kind of know it's about to happen, then I'm definitely on some R&B vibes. Like,
You gotta chill, you gotta vibe with it.
Yeah. All right, that's funny. So Notice My Steez is over. You're probably gonna kill me for this, but I'm Canadian, so my introduction to fraternities and sororities, especially African American ones, were movies like Stomp the Yard and stuff like that. I know. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. You already know guys like Justin Mackey and those kind of guys. My good friends and teammates would try to educate me because I remember going to the coop or going to parties and a stroll, like they would start strolling. And as a freshman, I'm like, why am I moving? So these group of women or these group of guys could dance. Like, I don't care.
Oh my God, that is funny.
And they're like, yo, don't get out the way. You're going to get beat up. Like, it's not a game. And I was like, in Toronto, we don't really have that kind of stuff. So I'm not used to it. So I guess my question for you is, and especially witnessing my teammate, go through that process while playing basketball and like, becoming a Q dog. How is the process of becoming an AKA, first of all, and how is it balancing, becoming an AKA and then being able to deliver in the classroom and deliver on the hardware as well? And like, what does it mean to be an AKA? What does it represent for people? A lot of my Canadian peers don't really understand like the commitment and the representation of what it means to be a part of a fraternity and a sorority. So what is that?
Yeah. So, I mean, pledging was something that I really like enjoyed because it allowed me to come outside of my comfort zone. It allowed me to then, because when you're a student athlete, you're in a bubble. So you're constantly around the same people all the time. And it's like when I gained my sisters, I felt like I was breaking into a whole nother group of people that I could be another Asia. Like I could then be another branch to myself. I felt like I was growing because I gained my sisters and because we went through stuff together. So I think that was something that I really like took a lot of pride in. And I hid it from Coach Staley a little bit because I just didn't know how it was going to work. I just didn't. But then at the same time, when I finally told her just the support that I had from around both sides, it really seemed like my worlds were colliding. So it's something that I take a lot of pride in and who I am. And, it held me accountable in a lot of ways. I gained my confidence. And also at the same time, it allowed me to be in my community in a whole nother way. And that's something that I really, really enjoy. Just not only just being an athlete and just having to do it, but at the same time, just being in the community and bringing something positive back is something that I love always. And so joining my sorority was something that it was always been on my list. And I really wanted to get involved in it because the things that, you know, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority does, it's just, it's crazy. I just love being a part of it. And of course, I'm not even gonna get into it because I don't even want to sound like messy, shady, none of that.
Yeah.
But you know, just the standard that they hold you to is something that I always going to carry myself by. And I'm not even talking on the athletic side. I'm just talking of just being a woman, being a powerful woman. And, you know, when they say empower women, I think that's kind of how I look at AKA, and just having surrounded yourself by great women that are kind of all like-minded and goal setting and goal oriented and just killing it on off courts and boardrooms and courtrooms anywhere. I think that's something that I really took to heart, and I've just enjoyed it. I enjoyed it all. I love my Lion sisters through and through. I am the tail. So it was just great. It was a great experience for me, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to participate through college. Well, actually, not through college, but my senior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I almost got convinced into trying to join one, but I don't have any family or nothing that's a part of it. So it was like a whole different process for me. But I definitely saw why people joined it, just because, like you said, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the networking. Then, like you said, everybody holds each other accountable to like the highest standards possible, whether it's in the boardrooms, courtrooms, basketball courts, or whatever field that they're, you know, required to be in. I feel like everybody holds themselves to such a high standard. And I really am like happy that I was able to kind of educate myself on the different sororities and fraternities, and it's something that I enjoy getting to talk to my friends about back home. So I think that's really cool. You talked about winning a championship. What was it like getting the opportunity to play in March Madness? Basically, almost every year, you were like the LeBron of like going to the finals, basically. And then, you know, my senior year, because you guys won it your junior year.
Yeah.
So that was my senior year.
Yeah,
so that was crazy because as we made the tournament, you guys were in the tournament as well. And we had like big pep rallies. I had teachers emailing me, like, I don't know if I could say this, but they was telling me, don't even worry about like any finals or like any exams or any final projects. Like, just focus on the tournament because we ain't been there in a long time. And so for you guys to consistently go to the tournament, what was it like winning a championship, like finally getting over that hill?
Man, it was one of the best feelings ever. It's something that I still feels surreal to me. Even when I can't even watch the game because I get like sweaty again and I get like nervous. But it was just a lot of fun just going there, and especially like the year that both of our teams had, like you had people flying literally in between Dallas and Phoenix, like going back and forth. Airports are like going crazy, full with Gamecocks. And like, I think that's what it really was all about. Like just knowing, yes, winning it, yes, getting there was big, but just knowing that you was putting on for your school and for the state, like it ain't never been done before, was something that I really took a lot of pride in. Cause I'm like, you know, this is my home. Like I just brought something back. So my future children, I can say, hey, I hung that banner up. I was like, we were the part of the first team to do that. So it was a ton of fun. I was crying my eyes off before and after the game because I'm like, I was just overwhelmed because I'm just like, I'm normally home watching this game and now I'm playing in it. And we're playing against like Mississippi State. So that's like SEC rivalry right there. So we're putting on for the league as a whole. Like it was just, and I can't stand Mississippi State. I love some of the players, like those my homegirls, but I cannot stand them through and through. I would like maroon and whatever white. Yeah, can't stand them. So it just like, it made the win that much more stronger because I'm like, I really can't stand you guys. And no one expected us to win. We were the underdogs. And I was like, what? So for us to go like that and for you guys to have the run that y'all did, like that was just incredible for the state and for our school. So I was just glad to be a part of the ride. Like I was like, hey, we in the Final Four. Like this is it. It was popping. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was, I mean, like you said, it would be like we go through the Sweet 16, y'all go to Sweet 16. And Final Four.
We were watching y'all's game in
practice.
Like,
you would literally like go home from practice and we watching you guys and cheering you guys on. That was an incredible run. And like you said, for me, like similar to you, I was crying before and after because growing up, like you watch this on TV, you watch these teams, you watch all these guys. So the fact that we were able to get in after, you know, 3 years of us not even making it, it was like really something I'll never forget ever. And it like brings me and my teammates, like you said, it just puts SC on the map. Like
Yeah.
this is all that like combined just makes me feel like, and you don't really realize how big it is until after, at least for me. Like
Yeah.
nowadays when I'm going to speak to kids or like I'm going to like talk to people, like everyone always brings that up. And it just makes me feel like, wow, like we really did something that was, because in the moment, like it was going so fast and it was kind of hard to kind of like really understand what's going on. But now I'm just like so fortunate to be a part of it. You being the number one draft pick in the 2018 WNBA draft, first overall, what was that experience like? And for other girls around the world who, you know, like you saw my sisters, you just met them, who are striving to be the best they can be, what would you tell them? Like, what does it take to get there?
Ooh, well, being a number one draft pick was something that was just something that I dreamt about. Like it was something that I'm like, whoa, like actually it, because I remember Sue Bird saying, you know, a lot of people may not know what school you come from or, you know, how you played in college, but once you say number one draft pick, they're like, ooh, you're good.
Yeah.
And when Sue said that, I was like, that's it. Like that was something that's like, no matter what, they can't take that away from you. And it was just a ton of fun. I wish I could tell you the moment, but I low key kind of blacked out because I was like, did she really just call my name?
Yeah.
And I had some wardrobe malfunction. So it was just draft night was a mess. I would probably rate it like 7 out of 10 because there was just a lot of stuff going on. But you know, to have that moment and to share that with my family, my parents and my brother were there. That was just something I was like, whoa, like it opened their eyes because we got to go to the Empire State Building on the highest level and we got to just be tourists. For just a great thing, for a great moment. So I was so glad to share that moment. But getting to that moment for young girls that inspire to be like that, it takes a lot of hard work, yes, but also it takes a lot of sacrifice. I think us as athletes, we give up a lot that people may not see, that gets us to where we want to be. And sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do to do things that you like. You got to do things to do like you don't want to do to get to the spot that you want to be at. And that's something that I would just always tell, you know, the younger generation is you might not always can't go to that party, or you might got to go to bed a little early for certain situations, but you have to sacrifice a lot of things to get to where you want to be. So then when you get there, it feels that much better because you know how much you gave up and how much you had to go through to get to that point. So I think the biggest thing is just sacrificing. Like I missed a lot of sleepovers, movies, dates, anything because I had to work out in the morning or because I had a game the next day. At a young age, I'm like, come on now, I want to be free. Like, let me be a teenager. But it's, you know, your priorities, you got to set them straight. So I have to say for all the young girls out there that, you know, want to strive, you know, sometimes you got to take sacrifices.
Okay. All right, cool. Again, congratulations on winning the WNBA, you know, 2020 MVP. That's incredible. I actually was watching, because I'm a basketball fanatic. So I was watching the moment when I was watching The Jump on ESPN when they had surprised you and you started crying and stuff. I thought it was so cool. How was it? We talked about a little bit off camera, but how was it playing in the Wubble? Like, what experience was that like? I know there was probably a lot of cons, but there's probably some pros. But how was it being able to compete at the highest level in that environment during these times?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was kind of like you just got to make the best of it. It was something that coming in, we were all had question marks about it. I didn't honestly want to go, but you know, I wanted to be a part of history. I wanted to be a part of something that was getting done in the middle of 2 pandemics, both racism and COVID. So it was something that I was like, you know, let's go give it a chance. And I did. And of course, I know I'm mentally tough coming out that bubble more so than anything. And that's a plus always. And I think the pros was also like, I didn't have to travel. I didn't have to go in the airport every other day. We were all under one roof. And also it allowed some other teammates of mine to really grow. It allowed them to showcase their true talents and show why they are a part of our team or a part of any team in the W, because everyone had their breakout game. And you saw players that you would have never imagined playing like that. And it's like, yeah, they kind of showed that they belong in the league. And I think that was just something that I love to watch, especially with our rookie Jack. Well, not even our rookie, our number one draft pick last year, yeah, because we don't have any rookies. Just kind of really branch out and come into her and showcase why she was the number one draft pick. So that was definitely something that I was like, hey, it's not bad in here. And also, you know, making it to the finals when no one expected us to make it to the finals was something that I was like, yes. Of course, in the way that we wanted to end. Of course, I would not want to get swept. But at the same time, you know, I grew so much at that moment, and I grew in us as a team. And I'm like, okay, this wasn't a bad trip. Like we got some stuff done. We put a lot of people on notice.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's good that you were able to take something out of it though and make the best of the situation. And I was speaking to Natalie Ashama before, and just all the things that you guys were able to accomplish with the messaging, with just bringing awareness to everything that's happening in our world and our society right now, which is not a surprise to me because I've been following the WNBA for a while, and they've always been about just, you know, pushing the narrative when it comes to things that need to be talked about. I know that, you know, you had the opportunity to meet Blake Griffin. I remember when we were in school, you were like a huge Blake Griffin fanatic. And I saw that, you know, LeBron James like sends you some shoes. He'd be sending you kicks or be interacting with you on social media. So was there anybody that you grew up, whether it's man or woman in the basketball space, that you grew up idolizing and looking up to, and now you have a relationship with or play against them or play with?
Yeah. I mean, you listed probably two, LeBron and Blake were two players that I still look up to. Just the way that they handle themselves on and off the court. They are who they are, and I can greatly appreciate that. And it's kind of cool to kind of not be a fangirl anymore, because it was kind of weird. I didn't felt like a groupie, and I'm like, all right, we're kind of cool now, so I can't really freak out. But I also, on the women's side, I would have to say Candace Parker. I think that's someone that I really look up to. And then I had to guard her my rookie year, and I'm like, whoa, idols become your rivals. Hello, this is a moment. I'm like, okay, we're here now. So yeah, those three are, and also Lisa Leslie. I of course have not played against her, but I had an opportunity of meeting her because I won her award my senior year, and that is my role model, like someone that I'm like, you know, on and off the court, she is who she is, and like I just honor her about that. So meeting her was someone that I'm like, we're good.
Wow, that's real. I was very close my senior year at South Carolina to meeting Vince Carter. Was like one of the if you know any Canadian player, you know some Canadian women, because we had some women that play on your team as well that are from Canada. But basketball was put on the map because Vince Carter was really out here putting on for our city and making it a popular sport within our culture, because we were all hockey, baseball, maybe. So I remember our senior year, we got to play Memphis at the University of Memphis. And at the time, Vince Carter was playing for Memphis Grizzlies. And after the game, you know, Chat went to UNC. So he was cool with Vince Carter because I guess he was like the ball boy or the manager of the team when Vince Carter was there. So he had a relationship with him or something like that. And he was like, Sindarius was basically telling like Chat, making fun of me about how much I love Vince Carter. Like, like similar to how you love Blake Griffin. And Pat was like, you want to meet him? Like, say less. Like, I got you. So after the game, like, I'm super excited. Like, I'm sweating. Like, I'm like Vince Carter. Like, I used to play in his like little kids league at the age of 5 and 6, Raptor ball. And Frank Martin sent a text saying like, yo, we got film tonight. Like, at this time, like, we all got to be there. And I was so hurt. And me and Sindarius are the captain of the team or whatever. And I was like, about to text him and be like, Frank, come on, man. Like, you got like. But I was like, I can't do it because, you know, this is right before the SEC tournament. I can't. I'm a leader. And Chap got a video of Vince Carter basically like saying, what's up, Dwayne? Like, sorry you couldn't meet me. So it kind of made my day, but I was so upset that I didn't meet him. So it's funny you got to meet like Lisa Leslie. That's how I look at, like, your Candace Parker is how I look at like Vince Carter.
Got you.
Earlier last year, you brought light to, you know, the lack of treatment that women get in professional sports, professional athletes, whether it's financially or other aspects. What made you want to speak out about this issue, especially, you know, stick up for the women in professional sports? What made you be the one to kind of use your voice, knowing that, you know, you probably have a lot of people that had opinions about it?
Yeah, it was funny because I wasn't even honestly wanting to make that tweet blow up the way that it did. I was actually just having lunch with my dad, and that's when like LeBron's like contract kind of came up on the ticker, and I was like, dang, like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, but Bron's earned it, so I'm like, yes, like go get your coin, like that's it. And so I tweeted that, and I know I'm not the first WNBA player to tweet about it at that. And I was like, why is everybody jumping on me? And then that's when I realized that I have a voice, and it carries, and people are listening. So that's kind of allowed me to find myself as to how I wanted to carry myself for the rest of the time that I'm playing, and that's speaking out on issues that need to be like brought to light. And I was just so happy enough to do that and figure it out while I was still young in the league, and just knowing that things aren't going to happen if we're hushed. Like closed mouths don't get fed. Like we gotta keep things moving and making sure we don't let up. So that was a part when I was like, you know what, go for it, Asia. Who cares? And WNBA players get hit with so much crap. Like it's just like y'all wake up angry. Like some trolls just wake up mad at us, and we're like, what did we do to y'all? Like I'm so sorry for whatever you got going on. So like I knew the backlash was going to come. I knew that I was going to get illiterate men, anybody coming for me. But then that just fueled my fire to continue to fight for the younger generation. So when your younger sisters want to come up in the league, they don't have to make a tweet about it again. Like those keep my wheels going. It's for that younger generation that wants to play the game. They don't have to experience things that I'm experiencing right now.
Wow, that's big time. Again, I talked to a lot of women about the fact that just even the lack of visibility. Just growing up, when I was a kid, WNBA wasn't being shown that much. So like, I could imagine if my sisters were my age when I was, 5 and 6 years old, like who would they get inspiration from to just tell them that it's okay? They could be a Candace Parker, at least a lesbian girl. Like there wasn't many, So I'm glad that now the viewership has gone up because of the Wubble. I'm glad that, women like yourself are, courageous enough to continue speaking out despite what that happens. Like continue living your truth because it inspires the generation after you, like I said, like you said. And you've already attained so much success, but when it's all said and done and you're looking back at your career, what are some of the things you hope to accomplish?
Yeah, I just want my legacy to just be something like, like for one, what I said, just planting seeds for the younger generation, looking back on it and kind of looking back and saying, wow, like I see a change, I see a difference. And, these women now are getting what they deserve and knowing that the fight was worth the fight. And also just being the best player that I can be, like knowing and first winning a championship. Let's get that part now.
Yeah.
But just being the best player that I can be, best teammate that I can be, and having no regrets, knowing that I gave it my all the time and I didn't let up any possessions. And at the same time, I would love to still be in the league and still kind of teaching women that are going through the league once my time is up, is just teaching them just how to get through it all, because it's tough, especially when you have women that's playing overseas, that's year-round basketball, and it's not like our league is like a league that you just sleep on. That's 144 girls. That's it. We don't have a G League. We don't have anything that's below it. It's 12 teams, 12 players. It's it. And some teams don't even do 12. So it's like it's cutthroat. It really is. So I would just want to just help them navigate through it all, because it is tough. But I just want to be the best player that I can be and continue to, set my goals and try to achieve them.
We talked about you having, your boyfriend that played in college, and is now playing in the NBA G League. Do you guys, I don't want to be cliche, but it's literally like loving basketball. Who's better one-on-one? Who wins most of the games? Gotta
know. Who wins in a game with Josh and I? So we actually played, and I can honestly say on camera, on record, he beat me. Okay. But I did not have the proper shoes or equipment. So I'm not going to say that. I'm a sore loser, so he's never going to get away with a win on me. But I think it is going to be a good matchup. Josh is really, really smart. Like Josh IQ for the game is just, it's something I've never probably with him, but his IQ for the game is crazy. He loves it. He loves to watch it. Yeah. I'm not like a film watcher like that. I just kind of like to just watch it in game, but Josh can watch a basketball game and just pick up stuff. Wow. So his IQ is better than mine. I can honestly say that. But I don't know if we're loving basketball. We go, I don't know if it's as sweet as it is on camera in the movie than it is in our real life. But, having him in college And now as we're like now into our pro careers, it's definitely helped me because, you know, I can come home to someone that understands what I'm going through. He knows that I'm leaving every other day if it's in season, and I know if he's in practice or if he's playing. And he's also someone that motivates me a lot because through this quarantine, I was not feeling it. I was like, whatever, like we're probably not gonna have a season anyways, but he was kind of the one that's like, you know, you need to go out there. Like you need to bust your ass because you need to, like, that's your job. And he holds me accountable. So I'm thankful to have someone that goes through it alongside with me. Of course, adding my puppies. But yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun having someone that understands me. Of course, he breaks down what I did wrong and what I need to do better. But, you know, it's always good.
That's amazing. That's like a hooper's dream, is to have someone that completely understands what the game is about and what like sacrifices you make. And like you said, you know, you coming home and the communication is good because he understands that you just came from practice. You came from here.
Yeah, it's a little thing.
Real good to have. All right, last question before we play Put on Notice. But can you explain the treadmill incident? Because that is a hilarious.
So, for those who have not seen the treadmill video, it was just one day, I think my senior year, I was going through conditioning, just normal day. And we were doing like 30 seconds on, 20 seconds off, whatever. And after I got done with my first 30 seconds on, I kind of felt me like jerk a little bit. I was like, all right, Asia, like keep still. So I was running and I get off, then I go back on and I'm running, but then I'm trying to get back off and I missed the railing and I just spin out of control. I broke 2 nails.
Oh no.
I broke 2 nails and I was just saying, like, my nails were like cut like a slant. It was just a mess, but you know, I got back up and I finished it. I was like, thanks, teammates. But it was funny because we just got those cameras working. Like any other day, the cameras was like, man. But that day, of course, that day it was working. And I'm like, all right. So I think the beauty of me is I find, you know, humor in myself. So I kind of can take people laughing at me because I'm like, I'm a joke anyways. I'm a klutz. I get it. So yeah, that was it. I'm surprised I didn't break anything, but except my nails. But yeah, I flew off a treadmill.
That, like, I seen that video. I saved it. I tried to make a GIF out of it. Like, that's how funny that video was. Like, that might be like hands down like the funniest video I've seen like ever.
Thank you. I'm glad I can bring laughter.
It's the funny thing is, like, having Scott as our weight trainer and having, you know, treadmill Tuesdays and having conditioning Tuesdays and Thursdays before the season, I've definitely seen a lot of guys be in a similar situation as yourself, whether it's they fell down or whether they're throwing up in the garbage can because of how intense.
One of the two.
Exactly. All right, so now we're gonna play Put on Notice. Put on Notice is basically this or that, and I'm gonna put on like 24 seconds on like a shot clock per se.
Okay.
IG or Twitter?
Twitter.
Beyonce or Rihanna?
Beyonce.
Martin or Fresh Prince?
Fresh Prince.
Sweats or dresses?
Ooh. I'm gonna have to do sweats, but I love to dress, so I love a good dress. That's hard. I have to do sweats though.
Heels or sneakers?
Ooh, I gotta go sneakers. I love my kicks.
Okay. The Office or Friends?
The Office.
I know that's like, I know you know The Office. Okay. Last one. Don Staley one-on-one or Asia Wilson?
What? Me, I'm betting on myself no matter what. Because Staley's probably gonna kill me and she's gonna have something to say, but I'm gonna always bet on myself easily.
As you should, yo. As you should. All right, that's big time.
It has to be Coach Staley like now, not her prime.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say prime Staley versus you. But you bigger.
I know, but she got more sauce to it. She's smarter up here. I gotta gain that. Once I gain that, then I can see her in the prime. But Coach Staley now, easy bucket.
Light bucket. Man, all right, man. That was incredible. I really appreciate you making the time to, you know, be on my show. I appreciate our friendship, and you've always been 100 every time I see you. Matter of fact, I'm about to say, I used to always, you know, ask you for assistance in our journalism classes because we started going to the new communications building. I was lost in every class I was in. And
hey, we got it through.
It helped me out. So I think I'm trying to put whatever I learned to use right now with this talk show. And I appreciate you being on the podcast. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.